Hidden beneath years of erosion and flooding stands one of Arkansas's most monumental pieces of history. The Arkansas Post served as a frontier outpost for the French, Spanish, and United States. It was first created as a trading post and military stronghold, and then it was transformed into the capital of Arkansas. In 1686, one of the most significant historical sites in Arkansas was established. Henry de Tonty, a French officer, was granted a piece of territory as well as a trading concession after serving in an expedition. Tonty had a strong desire to create a successful trading empire with the Quapaw Indians to accumulate beaver furs. He, along with other Frenchmen, set up a trading post, creating the first ever Arkansas post. The first French establishment was located west of the Mississippi and only consisted of a wooden house and fence. It was referred to as Uzac, which meant at the home of Arkansas. The Quapaw involvement led to the post's success, the Indians providing both supplies and military assistance to the French. Although the post was intended for the French to receive furs, the Quapaw were not interested in hunting beavers. This resulted in low trading activity on the Arkansas River early on. In 1720, with the help of Louis XIV of France, John Law was granted a section of land located on the lower Arkansas River. A number of indentured servants were brought to work the land for German settlers. However, Law's company went under and some servants were moved closer to the plantations in New Orleans. Also, the Company of the West began to withdraw troops from the post. In the end, some former servants were able to make a life in the Arkansas region. This was due to their ability to hunt, trade, and farm fields the Quapaw Indians gave them, thus leaving a French presence in the area. By 1723, the post was in command of Lieutenant La Boulay and 13 soldiers. Priests and soldiers resided at the post for the next few decades. After the Natchez Indian attack on the French post, Father Paul du Poisson, the resident priest, died. This resulted in the Louisiana government assigning another dozen soldiers to the Arkansas post. The outcome of this was the creation of the first successful post structures. On May 10, 1749, the Arkansas Post suffered its first ever attack during the French-Chickasaw War. The Arkansas Post settlers were assaulted by 150 warriors led by the Chickasaw chief, resulting in the death of several French men and the capture of 8 French women and children. Due to this, the post was relocated further away from the Chickasaw and closer to the Quapaw. However, the new location was deemed unsafe. The British and Indians had the advantage if they were attacked, as it was difficult to see and therefore respond to them. The post was then once again relocated. After the French lost the 7 Years' War, Spain was granted the western half of Louisiana, including the Arkansas Post. However, the Spanish did not begin using the post until 1771. The Spanish who occupied the post found it difficult to conform to the traditions, as the Indians and French greatly outnumbered the Spanish. In 1772, the Spanish commandment sought to limit the expenses spent on gifts and feasts for the Quapaw and overpower the French. To this, the Quapaw chief threatened to put a knife to the post, leaving with no other choice but to fall under the Quapaw request. In 1778, due to the American Revolution, King Carlos III of Spain declared war on Britain. The post was then relocated once again in order to avoid flooding. At first, a new post lacked a real fort. However, fearing for their safety, a new fort was established, and it was named Fort Carlos. In 1783, led by James Colbert, a group of British men along with African Americans and Indians attacked the post. However, the Spanish had a plan that gave a false alarming Indian presence defending the post. The deception went according to plan, and Colbert's men fled, taking in prisoners. These prisoners were later released after the Quapaw chief persuaded Colbert for their freedom. In 1800, Louisiana was returned to Napoleon from Spain. However, after the Louisiana Purchase, the French failed to inhabit the land, resulting in the Spanish troops transferring the post to the United States. By 1804, the United States had staffed the post with Lieutenant James Menny, a sergeant, 2 corporals, and 14 soldiers. The post became an important center for settlement, business, and government after an official U.S. trading factory was established. Even when the factory had closed, the post was still a prominent figure. Around 1818, William Montgomery created a place near the center of town where the Arkansas General Assembly could meet. In 1819, the post served as Arkansas's capital after it officially became a territory. This was due to it being the largest and most important city. William E. Woodruff moved the post and created the first newspaper in the area, the Arkansas Gazette. Also, one of the proudest accomplishments during this time was the Comet, as it was the first steamboat to have traveled through the Arkansas River. The post slightly lost its importance when settlers began to move into other regions of Arkansas, but it became successful once again during the Civil War. In 1862, Confederate troops built Fort Hindman near the Mississippi. The Arkansas Post was able to disrupt Union communication and supply lines. This left the Unions irritated, issuing an attack on January 11, 1863. However, the Confederates were outnumbered immensely, leading to their surrender. Fort Hindman and the remaining French and Spanish houses were destroyed. In 1929, the Arkansas Post was created into Arkansas State Park. It was also created into a national memorial in 1960 after a bill presented to Congress by William Frank Norrell. Today, anyone can visit the site and the museum in Gillett, Arkansas.